Good morning, everyone. Obviously, I'm Jonathan, and this is my final case presentation for Dr. Harper's Gen Psych class. Um, Starting off with the socio-cultural analysis, I primarily compared the Deer Creek and Council Grove communities to communities that I've grown up around. Um, I felt like Deer Creek kind of paralleled my hometown of Harker Heights, Texas, um, both of which I could see as being materialistic societies, fairly affluent neighborhoods, and as such, I have observed surface level friendships primarily driven by wealth in that environment. Whereas Council Grove community, I feel kind of parallels Cactus, Texas, which is a extremely poverty-stricken refugee and illegal immigrant community. Um, while serving in those communities, I have seen how poverty kind of creates a codependence within a community, and for that reason, I feel Council Grove and Cactus, Texas are a good parallel. Um, Primarily, what I'm observing is monetary wealth versus relational wealth, and not really a correlation, but in my mind, a correlation there. Um, Furthermore, I think it's important to point out that Deer Creek is an extremely affluent neighborhood, more so than Harker Heights is. However, Cactus, Texas is an extremely poverty stricken community, more so than Council Grove is. Um, Moving on to the developmental analysis, Amari is the mentee that I chose to focus on. He is a kindergartner in Miss Pennick's class, African American male. He's average size for a kindergartner. He, on occasion, has exhibited mood swings and has a history of anger issues and aggression that has resulted occasionally in school suspension. I know on our first visit to Council Grove, he was in ISS because he had been in a fight. Also, in every activity that we've given him, he has shown to be a competent student. He's very smart and learns very quickly. Um, However, there are a few things that I don't know about Amari. I don't know about his home life. He has mentioned that he lives with his dad, but I have not heard him speak very much about his mother or any of his siblings. Also, I don't know how extensive his history of fighting is, whether this is a fairly new development or if it was a one-time instance or something like that. Moving on, physically, I think that Amari is on par. I haven't observed him in a scenario where I could adequately assess his gross motor skills. However, he talks to me about playing sports and being outside, and for that reason, I think it's safe to say that those gross motor skills are equally developed as his fine motor skills. Um, Also, from a cognitive standpoint, I think that Amari fits into the Piaget pre-operational reasoning stage. Um, However, sometimes he struggles with his attention span. I wonder how much of that, though, has to do with him being bored, considering the fact that he showed competency in every activity that we've given him. Um, Amari, on a social personality sort of developmental stage, I think he's somewhat behind based on his aggressiveness and unwillingness to become friends sometimes. Um, Around from different things that I've read, around this stage of life, students should be seeking the approval and attention of their peers in order to form friendships. And I haven't really seen him do that very much. Amari, as a social actor, he does not really associate with the peers in our small group, which leads me to believe he is low agreeableness of the Big Five. However, he does enjoy being the center of attention. He enjoys hearing praise from myself or from Michaela or having a conversation with us, and so that leads me to believe that he is high extroversion of the big five. Also, I believe he's moderate openness, conscientiousness, and neuroticism. He talks to me about wanting to be outside and liking to be on a schedule and things like that. So for those reasons, I think he's moderate openness, conscientiousness, and neuroticism. Moving on to Amari as the motivated agent. He does not enjoy school. However, he does enjoy being outside, playing sports, and being with friends. And if he had the choice whether or not to attend school or not, I think he would continue to attend school because of that engagement with his peers through sports and being outside. Also, this is completely conjectured, but Amari is the autobiographical author. In my opinion, I don't think that Amari would be a student that allows his socioeconomic status to define him. He seems to be a strong-willed and independent young man. Also, though, he seems to be angry, whether that be at just the people in the group or just kind of angry at the world. And I think he has a lot of anger that he doesn't know where it's coming from. So, moving on to mental health analysis, Amari is. I chose three childhood disorders to kind of look at the ADHD, oppositional defiant disorder, and conduct disorder. In my opinion, ADHD does not really fit. First off, because I haven't observed him for 6 months, which is true for all of these. And because I feel like the symptoms don't really fit well with him. I think his hyperactivity and attention deficit primarily stems from just being bored rather than actually being a diagnosis. Also, conduct disorder, I don't really think fits Amari. He can be rude, but I have never seen him be cruel to his peers. I've never seen him try and hurt them, so that I don't think really fits well with him. However, oppositional defiant disorder, I think in some ways it could fit him. However, that's kind of a stretch, in my opinion. He does get angry, argues with his peers, and sometimes can be spiteful. But I've never really seen him not follow directions. Sometimes it takes a lot of reinforcement, but at the end of the day, he tends to follow directions. So if I were giving him a diagnosis, I would give him oppositional defiant disorder. If I had the choice not to give him a diagnosis, I wouldn't give him anything. Moving on to treatment, one of the biggest negative behaviors that Amari exhibits is being rude to classmates. And so I feel like the target behavior is for him to start saying nice things to his classmates. I think one way we can do that is every time that he says something rude in the small group, we require him to say at least 2 nice things to that person. As well, if he is rude more than 3 times, then we take away his Thunderbird dollar. In that way, we kind of incentivize him being nice, both through kind of embarrassment. If he is rude, then he has to get up in front of the small group and say nice things to them, which is kind of an embarrassing thing. Also, there is a tangible incentive with the Thunderbird dollar that he can redeem for prizes and stuff at the school store. So there are those incentives for him to change his behavior. Moving on to my conclusion, I think the Nazarene Church was founded on meeting people where they are, in love, and for that reason, that is what I have tried to do with our mentees, not just Amari, but all of them, is to come into Council Grove and love on these students without thinking about where they come from or what they have. And I think that should be the response of the church, is to love the students because we are called to love people. And so that's what I will continue to do, is to just love on these kids. Even if I can't be a part of the Council Grove trips next semester, I hope to continue to volunteer at least a little bit in the future. That pretty much covers it all. Thank you for listening to me. Have a great day. Bye-bye.